Hey, what's up everybody? My name's Philip Ellis, and in this video I'm going to show you some of my tips and tricks that I use to tune my drums. And I'm also going to show you my specific drum head selection that I use on my drums when I'm playing for Ostistone worship. We're going to start off with tuning the bass drum. All you're going to need is drum key, a cloth to wipe off old sawdust from drumsticks and dust and whatnot, and a Sharpie. You don't have to have this, but Sharpie is what you're going to use to write the date of installation on your drum head, which is helpful to have so that you can kind of see how long you've actually had that drum head on your drum. And so first we're just going to take off the old drum head, and if you have a drill with a drill bit key, now would be a great time to use it, but I don't have one with me, so we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. And this drum is unique because it has hoop lug claws. It doesn't have the actual claw style that hangs over the edge of the hoop, but it has a hoop lug that's installed on the bass drum hoop, and the tension rod actually goes through the hoop lug. Okay, once you have the drum head detuned, take it off. It's as easy as that. And that's when you're going to use your cloth to do some maintenance, to just kind of clean up the inside of the shell and clean up the counter hoop, the bass drum hoop. And I just like to just give it a nice, dusting. And then the inside, I have a little Evans EQ pad. You can buy these online, or if you have a towel, you can have a normal size bath towel and kind of fold it. And I use the pillow and I place it directly on the front head. I don't let it touch the batter head, but it basically just dampens the front head from keeping the front head from resonating. But now's a good time to turn your drum over, kind of give it a good tap, let all that dust that's settled kind of get out of there, go over your bearing edge, clean it off. The drum head that I recommend for the bass drum is the Evans EMAD. And this is an EMAD 2, which is an awesome drum head. Evans EMAD, EMAD 2, the GMAD. You can do clear or coated, doesn't really matter. I prefer clear so that I can look inside my bass drum. And with some of the other drums, you'll notice that I do like a cracking of the glue, but with bass drum and with Evans drum heads, you don't really need to do that because their glue doesn't really crack the way a Remo drum head does. The Evans EMAD comes with 2 external muffling rings. The one that's pre-installed, by installed I just mean it's put in there, is the really thin one. That one's great, but I prefer the thicker one. I just feel like it gets rid of more of the overtones, and to install it, you just kind of put it in the little holder. The bad thing about these drum heads is that at some point, this plastic ring that holds the foam ring on your drum head is probably going to crack. And when it cracks, it's really easy. All you have to do is just take some gaffer's tape and tape it on there. Not a deal breaker for me. All right, you got your bass drum hoop, and we are going to make sure that we put the bass drum hoop back on the same spot that we got it from, because your bass drum pedal clamp is going to be clamped on here, and it's going to cause a lot of dirtiness. And so you want to make sure you don't make your entire hoop dirty. You want to keep the dirtiness in one spot. And then you're just going to finger tighten all of the lugs. Once you have it on there, you're gonna just kind of finger tighten every lug. And the way I do that is I just give a little press, press down a little bit, and finger tighten. And what I would recommend is to do it in the star pattern. So once you have all of the tension rods tightened finger tightly, what you wanna do is just kind of pick it up and get a general sense for the tone that it's gonna be giving you. And with bass drums, I actually don't want much tone at all. So just a nice flabby thud is fine by me, and that's what I recommend the EMAD for, is because it gives that to you really, really easily. You basically do finger tight, and I mean, it's a little bit too flabby for me, so I'm probably gonna go like half a turn each, and I will do this in the star pattern, just to where you get some of that wrinkle. And actually, I'm missing a lug right here, so, or a tension rod right there, so I won't do that one. You get some of that wrinkle out of the bass drum, because you want to have some even tension. And then we'll try again, see how it sounds. Sounds more like a bass drum now, but I can tell it's still, you can feel around and still tell that it's probably a little bit too loose for my liking. So I'm just going to go ahead and tighten a little bit more, and that's starting to sound really good and feel really good. So that's the batter head, and we can kind of leave that alone for now. That's honestly how I would tune my EMAD. The EMAD is meant to get you that really nice fat punch of a bass drum sound. There's not a lot of sustain, not a lot of tone, which I don't think your bass drum needs, especially if you're miking it up in a room that is going to have that natural reverberation, like the gym, which we play downtown. Whenever I hit the bass drum with the mic on it in the gym, it lasts a good like 3-5 seconds. But when you hear it right here, it's a very nice, tight, compact sound. And that's good, because we don't want our bass drum to resonate like a tom would resonate. The front head, I actually haven't changed this front head in probably 8 years or so since I've had this drum. Front head, I like to tune just tight enough to where there's no wrinkles. It doesn't have to be super tight. So this is the kick port, and I've also had this on there since I built this drum. And what this does is this gives your bass drum a fundamentally lower note than it would have without it. So part of that means that you can tune your front head a little bit higher than you might normally tune it, and you're still going to get that low note from your bass drum. So with the front head, I'll tune it, you know, pretty tight. Like there's some good resistance there. It's not flabby, it's not finger tight. So it's probably finger tight, and then it's probably about 2 turns each is what I would say. 2 full turns on each lug, and it's nice and tight. And then for the pillow, you put the pillow inside. What I like to do is only put the pillow touching the front head. The rest of it is not touching the batter head. The batter head is completely free. So this dampens the batter head, and the pillow dampens the front head. And then when you have a SM91, you can lay it right on that pillow, and it's going to sound incredible. So that's the bass drum. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, not a lot of technique really with tuning the bass drum. The main thing that I would probably sum it up with is I like this tuned very low, the batter head tuned very low, kind of flabby. I like the EMAD ring, the big ring, and on the front head, I like the kick port, and I like the front head tuned pretty tight, and the pillow is only resting on the front of the front head. So now all you have to do is put the date on the drum head. There we go.